Hi, my name is Victoria Kielland and I'm a Norwegian writer. And I'm right now coming up with my new book, Mine menn in Norwegian, here in Poland. I thought that I got the story from my big brother, who I have always looked up to, but it turns out he hadn't heard about Belle Gunness. So I must have found it somewhere else. I think I got it from the newspapers or some magazine. Like every fifth year in Norway, we have like this every summer we have like this dry period of news because everyone is on holiday. So every fifth year you have like this story of Belle Gunness circulating the press. So, and then they write about her in magazines and online newspapers and stuff like that. So I guess that's where I found her the first time. And when I found her the first time, I was really shocked that I haven't heard about her before. So I started like doing some research, and I was also fascinated by that there wasn't written any like literary project about her. You have a lot of different types of projects that like musicals, revue, like what we normally in Norway would call like this low cultural genres, and it has been made musical albums about her and stuff like that, but not like any more profound literary projects. So she was with me for a long time because I didn't know how to write her story without making it sensational. And then I was at a point in my life where I found myself madly in love with my boyfriend, who I'm with now. And I was thinking that this type of pulse I have inside me now, I can use this to describe how Belle must have felt in her type of life situation, because I felt 50% mad and 50% sane. And then if you go the wrong way, you can probably do some bad stuff. I think the book is also like this big, long scream of love, or a big, long, or a big longing is probably what it is, towards a love that cannot be fulfilled. So it's a desperate scream for Belle wanting to be loved, and she will do anything for that to happen. And that was sort of a big part, or is a big part of everything I write, is how do you put that extreme desperate situation into the language? How can you mirror that extreme feeling within the language itself? And that's why the rhythm of the language is so important, because it must have been an extreme experience being Belle Gunness. And that's what I sort of want the reader to also understand, or sort of get a sense of, like this. Overflowing madness, which also is not madness, it's also really human. A lot of writers, at least in Norway, talk about that they write themselves into a character, but I think I wrote myself in just deeper inside me. So it's sort of a book about me, but it's also a sort of a book about how I project my own inner life in towards Belle, which I also think that my inner life is sort of like, it looks a lot like the same of other people's inner lives. I think that's why we also read literature, to understand each other more. And it's not like that I want people to understand Belle as a serial killer, but I want people to understand how it is to be in an extreme crisis of life. When I finished the book, I felt exhausted, because the book is sort of, it doesn't stop to breathe or stop to think. the language just goes on and on and on and on. And that's sort of also the thing I wanted to take the reader inside the world or the state of mind, is that it's quite claustrophobic to be Belle Gunness. You can't get out of her body. The language is so connected to her body and you can't get out. So if you want to see beside Belle Gunness, you can't, because she's always up in your face. So you try to escape the language and the body is still there, so you can't get out. And that's sort of like the faith of Belle's life. She can't escape herself. And that's sort of one of the horrors of being inside the book with her.